Alrighty, welcome back. Welcome back. Where were you? Why is this bugging out? No idea what the hell's going on here. Hold on, sorry. Good afternoon. Screen keeps bugging out. I don't know what it's doing here. This fucking stream. Fuck them. Fuck the recording. Alright. Welcome back. Dow's about break even. Rest of the market's down like 20%. No, it looks like a lot of red, but this was just yesterday. Got a level. I'm pretty excuse me. Pretty happy about this spot right here. The difference between being here, right? Where we are. I want you to think about this for a moment. Being in this position here. And then I want you to go and put a sad face for your boys over here. Imagine. Yikes. Why is this flashing? I'm flashing on Discord. What the hell is going on with this thing? Sorry guys, just give me a second here. The recording is flashing the screen. Kind of a problem. Just fix it. Okay. There it is. Nope, still doing it. Oh well, they'll have to deal with it. Alright, so yeah, quite the candle from the tech side, the growth side. Again, why? Because they're literally reacting to the bond market, which we just talked about from yesterday. Now, this average is affecting everything. So even the Dow is getting hit. Even banks are getting hit by the average, right? There's not much you can do, and that's why we don't trade the average, right? We don't trade averages. We're not average. What are we going to trade the average for? So again, when you go look at individual tickers, those will tell the actual story, right? You'll look at positions and go, oh, right. Oh, all those green positions that we're a part of? Oh, right. Those are not the average, right? And so again, I mean, this is such a story of... It's a story of sticking in your lane and then also just understanding what's going on. It's how could you already forget what happened yesterday? It's just very strange. And I talked about it. This morning. When it gapped, this opened, guys, this shit opened 1.5% lower. A little more than that. And it's like all of a sudden people forget. The market forgets, and I talked about it. It's like this weird short-term memory thing. Or I have no idea what it really is. But could you imagine? Like, it's so strange. Right? And so again, if you weren't here, I would just go see what I said about my comments about it earlier. I find it hilarious. I find it one of the funniest things ever. Again, over here, I'm completely happy with this. Completely happy with it. I even talked about it over here. This is just too much here. This is leading into lunch. Now, I told you guys all before going into lunch, if you're one of the people that are going to have a hard time pushing your position. Now, there's plenty of places where it doesn't matter if you were trying to push it or not, you had to take profit, right? There's plenty of areas. We'll go over those after close, but the reality is like this here, where you're not able to hold through, but you lost 20 basis points. You literally lost like 20 basis points on the Dow. The rest of the market's down like 3%. You couldn't hold through 20 basis points. How are you ever going to be able to push through anything, right? If you didn't enter anything. This again, it shows, and I talked about this even a couple of days ago, it's going to show, because if you're not able to buy things right now, when are you ever going to be able to buy anything, right? When are you ever going to be able to actually buy anything? There's plenty of examples, right? Do you think this is going to go? This is crashing right here. Do you think this is done, right? How does this look on the daily? What do you think? What do you think about banks? Oh boy, the bank average is going down, but it is still up over 0.5%. Most of the big banks are up over at least 2%, right? At least 2% on all the big banks. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Like, it's really silly. And so we're gonna, when market closes, I don't really have much to manage here. Viacom keep pushing. I think the Discovery chart's a good example. Again, this candle here that continues to go. Again, these are not really related to value or growth, and so again, picking tickers is important. X never really. This shouldn't have really pushed you out of this position. Again, this is exactly. If you had to ask me what the day would look like, this is exactly how I said the day was going to look like. Why? Because this is literally what we do every single time. And then tomorrow's a green day. This is almost what it looks like every single time. Almost every single time, right? So it's like, if you're not used to this price movement yet, and that's why I say it every day now, that if you're not going to be, if you can't hold, you just got all these points here. If you can't hold through that, going into a take profit close, which again, I say every single day that we have something that's going to the upside, just take the profit now. Do you think I took some profit? Yeah. Fucking told you I took some profit. Of course. What am I? What do I look like? I tell you every day, take some shit home. You don't ever take it home. What are you doing? Right? Told you to go buy a Vicuña sweater. I bet you didn't. I bet you didn't. PRTS, same thing, same story. Same story. It's still up 3%. It doesn't matter that this is showing that it's bullish. If anything looks like this here, where it's still up 3% on the day, but it had significantly more percent earlier, does this all of a sudden make the chart, is this a bearish chart now? Or is this a bearish candle? Because it's only up 3% comparatively to 10. Yeah. Yeah, TME. TME is a great trade from yesterday. I think TME is one of the, they did it intraday, so it's a little different, right? But this break over here, I think this is a great trade here too. Imagine not being just all we had to go was price. I didn't read a damn article. I think I read Bloomberg. Bloomberg told me. Looked at the Bloomy, the Zynga. Is that what this trade is here? Did you need an analyst to tell me this? One of my favorite memes is the Yemen meme. The Jack Ryan, I'm just an analyst. I can't go to Yemen. I'm just an analyst. I can't go to Yemen. The CIA. All right, did we fucking close yet? We did. Need to go take a look. Oof, it was a tough day. I took profit on all my WBA since yesterday, and then get the rest off this open. When I told you guys, oof, that really makes my P&L look dangerous. And it looks a little wrong because I know it's not accurate. All right, let's take a look. Be interested to see how people did today, because I'm gonna make fun of a lot of people today. Not anyone individually, just in general. Imagine people sold down here. They sold down at the low here, and then they're gonna buy it again tomorrow. Oh God, it disgusts me. Makes me a little woozy. All right, let me see. I'm gonna take a look at the profit section first. I'm gonna take a look first and see if it comes in. Oh no, I thought there was more people here. Okay, never mind. Okay, let's take a look, guys. I think it's important that we first start with what we've been going over so much, which is value. Which is, guess what? Value didn't lose anything today. Still had a higher low. It posted a higher high. Had momentum to the upside. The only thing that brought it down was an overall average, which is fine in my book, because guess what? This lost less than 0.5%, 40 basis points on the ETF. Most of the tickers doing well, specifically towards the bank side, which we're very bullish on, and the healthcare side. So United, your JP Morgans, Bank of America's, Anthem, those type of tickers. Now, there's some tickers on the other side that got hit. Again, it's not all great. This average is not all great. I've talked about it. The tech side sucks. Tech side sucks. Apple, Microsoft is in this average. Apple chart is terrible. Could you imagine being in this? Could you imagine? That's ridiculous. Again, I told you, you'd have to literally, you'd have to kill me. You'd have to kill me for me to do this. I took the short here. That's still the only trade I can see on this chart. The only trade. It's going to take a little while, right? It's going to take a little while. Now, the other thing that got hit overall, and this is an important thing that's going to, again, it's going to seem, I don't know. We don't trade averages, right? What average got hurt? What's been the number one sector overall this year? Energy. Energy, right? Well, let's go take a look at the energy average. Whoa, that's a big candle there. Tell me what this is, though. Do you know what this is here? Is this the actual, is that the actual tickers that we're trading there? I mean, now, of course, we're in XLE and we had to get out a long position of XLE. But what about the individual energy companies that we trade? Is this eating into our numbers here? And what is that? All this is right here is crude. Are we long oil? We're not long oil. That's not what we're long right now. That's not what we're in at all. Now, there's companies like that we've traded. We traded when that OPEC meeting came through, right? But here's oil. This is crude. This is literally the crude futures. That's it. Yeah, it's a very similar chart, right? We're not long crude. We're not. There's a difference between the two. And so again, when you look at this average, it's very much like the Dow, but even more important that when you're using that as a benchmark, that you're not specifically trading that average. And so when that's pulling back there, I'm not going, oh, let me buy this pullback. No, because I know it's tied into this, and I don't know specifically this here. And I talked about it this morning that I took profit on my natural gas short, right? That's the exact opposite of this. So as this moved, it's making the other side go, right? So take a look over here. Here's the difference. This is pushing up when that's pushing down, and so I took profit at open. So again, it's very similar. So again, understanding what exactly it means, it's important to see the difference between the averages there and then how it gets tied into something. It's just like when we were trading semiconductors, and then all of a sudden they get traded with growth, right? And it starts to eat away, and you have to get out of it. It can be bullish all week, and then all of a sudden it gets taken away, right? We can't trade it. It's also important to remember that when there's something that we're trading that's bullish, we don't then just go short it immediately. And even if it goes down the next day, like for instance, I'm going to give an example here. And again, I'm going to just eat the words. Over here, right? Talked about it. David, he's not in here. David on this day here was like, should I short it right here on the 16th, right? If you shorted it the 16th, the next day price was up. And so the short all of a sudden here seems fucking weird. Yeah, it was down today. You could have shorted it today. It's again the timing. Is this going to go down or up tomorrow? All of you know 100% we're going to buy this tomorrow. We can't be going long and then going short every single fucking time the price changes, right? It's really important to remember that because it's going to eat away from the overall consistency, right? You go try to take a short here, and then you get stopped out of it here, and then all of a sudden it goes down the next day. Now all of a sudden you're trying to force the short again. And then what happens? You don't take the long. And there's a lot of examples of this, and that's why I'm going to, you could have shorted here and made money on this candle. Absolutely. But guess what? The whole fucking market was down today. That's a completely different decision. Completely different decision, right? The whole growth in entire market was down. Even the value market was down, right? Even the value market was down. Even the Dow was down, right? Now break even overall, right? What's going to happen? All these prices are going to jump back tomorrow. Of course they are. Of course they're going to jump back tomorrow, right? So could you have bought things today? How many of you bought something at close here today? How many of you actually bought something at close? Just type some dumb shit into chat. Type a 1 into chat if you bought something. A1. Type 1. Pen. Yeah, you can type the name. Whatever. Let's see if tomorrow, those of you that bought something today, it's going to be up tomorrow. If it was down today, right? If it was down today, it's probably going to be up tomorrow, right? I'd probably give it a 75% chance that it's going to be up tomorrow. Easily. I'm talking about the halfway point on a candle. Is the NASDAQ going to be up tomorrow? Sure. I'm not going to put my money here. I didn't put my money here, but this will be up, right? Now, is it going to be up over the weekend? Well, that's a different decision. But you know what's really nice about putting a trade on at the end of the day today is that you don't need to make the decision over the weekend yet. You've got the trade there for open. And then if it's up open, great. I'm up 20, 30%. Now I can manage it through the rest of the day, right? Same goes for those of you that pushed your positions. Those of you that are in a position, let's just use like an example we've been using a lot. Those of you that bought X yesterday, right? You bought X yesterday. Okay, there's a couple things you could have done today, right? Okay, X was up quite a bit today, right? X was up another, what is that? Oh boy, another 8% today, 9% almost, right? And if you entered over here at the open yesterday, yesterday, it's like 13%. Could you have taken that for a gain? Yeah, and I did too. But guess what? It's okay if you didn't buy short terms and you had a long term and you pushed through this because you're still trending to the upside. You have a perfect trend through here. And you're going to get paid for still holding if it goes up higher, right? There's different ways you can do it. It's fine. It depends. The reality is still you should be taking before that starts to happen. And you know it's going to happen. The idea that we did not know that there was going to be profit taking at close is ridiculous, right? It's a little ridiculous. It's also ridiculous to think that growth was going to all of a sudden, out of nowhere, decide, you know what? I don't care anything about yields. And just because the yields are up a ridiculous amount today, we're going to go up as well. That's literally insane. It's almost insane. And anyone that took trades like that, you're insane. Let me bring it over to this screen. Let's see where the yields are right now. Okay, the yields retreated a little bit, right? 10-year was up 7% or so. These 2-year was up almost like 16, 17%, right? This means growth goes bye-bye, right? That's literally what it means. If the bond yields are up and there's selling in the bond market, again, it's going to make growth go down. Talked about this all morning. Talked about it all day yesterday. Talked about what is going on. Why is tech going up yesterday? Who fucking knows? Who knows? It opened up almost 2% lower today for a reason. Why did it go another percent lower? It's just reacting to what's going on. So again, there's people in here that get caught with their pants down. They got caught with their pants down, buying the wrong thing and pushing it and maybe even selling it at a low when it's now going to bounce back tomorrow for a historical number and you're going to end up buying it. And this is why you don't trade something that's not actually bullish and going to have a trend, is you're going to go buy that tomorrow and then you're going to be fucked over the weekend. And you're like, what am I doing? What am I doing? You're like buying and selling back and forth on something that's not bullish. If you buy something that's bullish, you can push it. And like I said, tech will probably be up in a month. But the problem is you can't push it for a month. You can't push that position for a month. You're going to be at zero for a month before it does anything, which makes that a waste of time, right? That's why we only trade things that are bullish and always buy what's bullish on the pullbacks, that's why I said the same thing with the pen chart. The problem with trying to short a bullish chart is that you're supposed to do the opposite on a bullish chart. On a bullish chart, every time there's a pullback, we're buying it and trying to get that next move to the upside. On something that's bearish, you do the opposite. You're trying to short it every time there's that opportunity where it pushes to the upside and you short it from the resistance, right? We have to keep that mindset going, or else we're just going to continue. You'll just continue to be on the wrong side, right? Every time there's a pullback, we take the opportunity. What about GE here today? Pulled into support. Those of you that were in this position, another opportunity, right? Another opportunity. It's the same thing. It's not that we're going to go short it here now. Yeah, you could say you could short GE here, but how many times is it really going to break through the support? And then same thing here. We have to continue to stay on the same in our lane and don't change the bias. We need to be proved. Something needs to prove to us the bias, right? That the bias has changed, right? Otherwise, you're just guessing. You're literally just guessing. You've got no clue. Just like the tech market right now has no clue. And I don't want to be a part of that because you're going to have trades move away from you and you don't understand why. It's just people making bad trades, right? There was a lot of actually fun trades today. There was actually a lot of fun trades today that you could have got in and then got out of. We mentioned them all morning. Now, let me just mention some of these. There are some charts up here that I know some of you took profit on and got some trades on. For instance, some retail stores. Some retail stores took profit today. Some put big moves on. Some of them are signaling big moves tomorrow. This is still just a bullish sector, right? They're all over the place though. Individual tickers, right? This was a gift here today. What do? You take the profit here. You just gapped up almost 20%. Of course you're going to take the profit here, right? You're in from over here. Get out. That's of course. So again, I just want to mention again, when you get this kind of gift here, you'll take the profit. Yeah, it doesn't mean you can't enter it today and then go make a new trade tomorrow. Yeah, there'll be opportunities up here. It's just the starting off, right? It's not like just because it gapped, it doesn't change the fact that what if it trended all the way up there, and then can you take the trade up there? Of course you can, right? Of course you can. But again, I just want to mention that's a gift. Take the profit there, right? Okay. Other tickers. Industrials did very well again today. I talked about industrials being a little bit more bullish. There's a lot of examples of these charts on the industrial side. Things like, again, we talk about X. I talked about the car chart. This came off from the open. Charts like that are they just don't move very much. And so they're very easy to spot when things are actually getting going. And so I mentioned WM as well. This chart is such a strange chart. I had to take profit on this move here yesterday. And so you're going to get a historical sort of buy off of this. And I talked about from open. This chart is very strange. It might be something to take advantage of as well. There's a much longer pattern here I don't have posted. But through this break here, we were trading it through up in here. And so I had to get out of the position here. I had a really bad exit from this because it just was weird. But there's charts like this that, again, it's bullish and it's moving not with the market, right? And now there are other charts that are similar, like Viacom Discovery's the other charts that are similar to that. TME is an example of a chart that has nothing to do with anything, right? It's these kind of charts that on a day like today, those are the ones that you want to emphasize. And I talked about it from this open, that there are charts that the market can just do whatever it wants, and the market can be mixed, and you're going to trade those individual tickers that have nothing to do with anything and take advantage of them, right? And so the demand will go to those. I thought it was really interesting some of the ways that some positions put a significant points on by lunch. I mean, it was a ridiculous amount of points. You have to take some of those, and yesterday we did the same thing where we actually took profit on a lot of positions because they put so many points on, right? They literally put so many points on that you just had to go, what are you going to do? You're gonna sit there and I don't know. You're going to let yourself lose another 5% for no reason when you just gained like 20% that day, right? You got to take profit on those. This BABA trade is really interesting. Going to be really cool to see what happens tomorrow. So took this trade yesterday around the open, right? Pretty early. And didn't really, I hate that I took this trade. But again, we're kind of swinging into this bullish. Now, look what we just saw with tech, right? What we just saw with tech. Tech is, again, showing this weakness. There's going to be this, again, this resurgence, though, of the fact that China is tech-driven. When you look at the Hang Seng, for instance, is tech-driven, but it's all tied to economy, just like our value. The value side is tied to the economy. It's not that it's all economically driven, but it's tied to the economy, just like Asia's tech companies are tied to their economy. So things like BABA here, all these charts that have pulled back because of, as we understand, just a global tech pullback because of bond yields. This doesn't get affected by our yields, even though China's sensitive to treasuries. It's not the same idea that they're discounting growth. We don't consider this the same thing. And so this doing well today, right? It didn't move today, but it's still up over 1% today from the 2%, almost 3% yesterday. This kind of trade, think about like the idea of a double bottom in here, right? You have this downtrend. You've got this very clear move pivoting one way to the other, right? With this level in here, if we break through this, whatever this is going to be here, whether we consider it 241 to 242 or so, if it breaks through this, maybe we'll just put it right here, right? The 241.5 mark. If it breaks through here, then now all of a sudden you have this just very clear move, which I would literally draw this pattern and I would say, okay, this is a breakout, and I would say it'd be coming up into here, right? It's these kind of trades that you just have to go make these trades. They have nothing to do with anything. You need to remove yourself from looking at headlines and looking at fucking, well, the NASDAQ is down, so look at all the fucking charts that are up though and did well today, right? There's so many charts that did well today. This Humana chart looks like it's ready to go as well, right? These healthcare companies are ready to go. There's charts that you could get in position for on a day like today. So I want to make sure we're taking the most kind of advantages we can on a day like today, which is not always easy, but there's not really a wrong or right answer in terms of what you can do in terms of managing these trades, and also of when you're taking profit. And that's why I say you can take profit early. There's tech charts that were up from the open because it gapped down so much, right? Those are still not. You could look at that and go, well, those were up, and so I could have traded it from open to lunch and then taken profit on it. But why are you buying something that's fucking bearish to begin with, right? What are you buying something that's bearish for? Doesn't make any sense. So again, if you look at anything that's actually green today, it's all fucking value, which means that you could have been in a value trade from yesterday and you didn't have to sell it today. That's the most important part. The most important part of trading is that you can push your winnings and that every day you have your money in the market. Your entire portfolio can be in and you don't have to remove it on a day like today. You know what sucks is that when you have to get in and out of positions all the time and your money's not working for you because now you have to re-enter positions. Today should be the best example, another good example of how do you keep all of your money working for you all the time? By being on the right side of the market. Because if you're not, guess what you're doing? You're literally going in and out of trades every single day. And you have macro events that are actually fucking you and that are going against you. This is not where you want to be. It doesn't matter if this is going to offer points or that you had a 4% day out of nowhere that no one actually captured, right? This is tough and this is going to hurt, I think, the overall market. That's why I'm bringing it up, because there's a chaos here that is not going to follow rules. It's not like a retail thing where retail's just throwing money. It's getting squeezed back and forth. So as soon as this momentum, the acceleration this way stopped, market makers sell, right? There's the same contracts that were over here or over here. There's more contracts over here now. And so what happens? Market makers sell all the underlying because they're not going to have to look at all the contracts. Think of all the tech contracts that are no longer in the money that market makers don't need to pay off. They're not going to need to pay any of those out. Now, again, they're neutral. They don't make money off that. They make money on the spreads, right? But they no longer need to hedge against those. So they're going to sell the underlying it's going to cause those to come down, like Apple, right? There's hundreds of thousands of calls out there that are worthless now. They're just worthless. They're not worth anything. So of course you sell it. That's it. But guess what's going to happen tomorrow? The fucking same dance. This shit's going to get squeezed to the upside now because it's going to try to retrace halfway. The acceleration's going to get going. Market makers are going to have to start buying. That's going to cause other people to come momentum trade. It's the same fucking dance. How do you get out of it, though? How do you get out of it when you're this close to expirations all the time? It's going to take longer than a month. Guess what comes after March monthlies? April monthlies are going to have more contracts than March. How do you ever get out of it? It just needs to not get fucked by other factors, which it is, right? Which is why value's doing well. Value's not getting fucked by other factors. It's actually getting benefits because it's actually giving a growth factor that they didn't have in the now. Those value retracement charts and the idea of things tied to the economy's getting going. And it's actually helping those, whereas it's not doing anything for the tech side, and it's actually hurting the future prospects of these charts. So again, you don't want to try to make these work. And we're getting another day that, guys, it would have been really fucking stupid to buy this after it was already down like a 2% from open. But also from yesterday, there was proof yesterday not to go over here. I'm not saying that you had to short tech today, but it's really silly I find it so silly for a lot of, not for anyone here, but for the market to kind of do the dance that it's doing and then to play dumb all the time. The idea that we don't know the way price is moving or where things should be is fucking ridiculous, right? Everyone and their mother knows exactly what's going on by now, right? By now, you know that yields affect growth. They're sensitive to growth. You understand the dollar. You understand that the dollar is not in the correct spot. relatively, right? You understand that I talk about the spot VIX all the time, how it's literally not down here. Volatility is way higher. If why was volatility all the way down here before the move then happened, right? It only started moving once the move happened. Why? Because it's just correlated to the downside. Has no real. If this was fucking real, if this was real, this volatility gauge, the volatility index was actually a realistic number in a realistic gauge right now, why was it not already higher? Why was it at its lowest point? At its lowest point since before COVID. It's lower than when the COVID fucking crash started. It's all the way down here, and yet we're getting a move. And I'm saying like in relation to like the lows of all the COVID, it's lower than all here, showing that there should be barely any move coming. There shouldn't be a very big move incoming at all. Then why do we have days like yesterday and today where price instantly seems to jump the page and move back and forth? Because this is just fucking wrong. It's just wrong. It's just out of nowhere. So everyone acts surprised. And then, like I always say, everyone has the same feeling all the time. It's just this constant anxiety and very strange market movement, right? Which means you can't go make something else work. You got to stay in your lane, which I say the V word every single day for a reason, right? Because you didn't get hurt today. You know what sucks is getting hurt, right? Silly to get hurt. Let me look at the profit section. Curious to see. Let's see. Momsky says, big sad plus 1.6%. Oof. Yikes. That's a heartbreaker. Brian with the, oh God, the minus 55. He's ruined. That's another ramen day right there. That's a pretty good number for today. I like that. C-Trader with the minus 670. Oof. Off of what? Like four grand in the last 2 days? Yikes. That's a tough one. Tough one. Sounds like your stops were a little loose there. Spoon says minus 2% stops and take profits. Take profits. Profit should not be minus. I'll give you the benefit of the delta. Minus 2% is pretty good for a day, I guess, like today. Tiger Shark, 975, minus 975. Haven't looked since lunch. Apparently things went downhill. Yikes, he probably should look because things got way worse since lunch. So if he was down before lunch, then that must have meant he was trading tech before lunch, which means he was going to be wrong no matter what. So I'll be critiquing there because that's just silly. Chris, minus 2%. Okay, so it sounds like everyone else is basically along with the average, which I guess if you lose on the average, but you're winning above the average when you win, then you're profiting, right? Like if you win more on the days that you win more than the average on the days that you win that are green, but you lose the same as the average on a losing average day, then you must be profiting. So those are decent enough numbers, I would say. I would say a big critique would be, again, like what I said earlier, guys, you gotta. I know some of you are selling at lows. I've done it myself before. You cannot just sit there and watch price go lower and lower, and then go, okay, now I'm gonna sell. And then you're watching the candle and you go, oh shit. You place the order and you're going, oh shit, hold on. Maybe I can actually hold it. Maybe it's actually gonna go back up. I know the feeling. We all have the same feeling. You can't do that. You have to just. You need to just, as soon as that little tingle, that tingling feeling happens, just get out of it. Or else you're going to do that and you're going to sit there and you're going to watch that fucking thing go down and down and down. Here's a good example. I was doing it with BA today, right? So I have my long position, but I took profit on the short position up here, right? I think I talked about it. So I took profit on the short position over here, re-entered the short term. I'm not saying short as in shorting. The short-term position right over here yesterday. So what did I do today? So I entered a new short-term position on top of my long position right over here, right, from open. And so we already had quite a bit of volatility from the open. So I was already expecting volatility, right? I think some of you mentioned this move. Yeah, you could have bought this from the open today. When are you getting out of this, your short terms here? Which again, you're getting out of anything short term here because you're being sensitive, right? I'm not talking long term. I'm talking fucking things that expire tomorrow and weeklies and everything else, right? When are you getting out of this position? So you enter down here, right? Let's say you entered at 255, 256, even up to 257, anywhere in there, right? Okay, so here's today. So from the open, well, we're not going to sell from this opening action again. I've talked about this a lot. If you get this kind of bid action here, and this is going to be just kind of a quick lesson, but you get this kind of bid action from the start, you're not going to sell if it comes all the way back down to where it started. You're not selling from that. There's no world in which you gain. Again, this spread here is over 1%. This is over 1% from open to here. There you go, 1.5%. In no world are you, this is in 5 minutes, are you selling when it goes down 1.5% and back to break even, right? And so as soon as you see the tightening happen over here, you go, great. So here's lunch, okay? Here's lunch. As soon as lunch starts, you start to pull back. When in here should you be taking profit? That's a fucking difficult question to answer. Today, I held all the way through here, and then this came in. I was like, oh, okay. Maybe by 2 o'clock we'll get some action. Right over here, you need to get out the first time. The first time you have that thought. My first time was on this candle over here. As soon as this started to come through, this is 0.5% in 5 minutes. You have to get out of that fucking position. You cannot sit there and watch it. You're still you're in a pretty good profit, right? It's a pretty good profit. You can't just sit here and watch this thing go lower and lower and then get baited on a candle like this here, which I got baited on, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is perfect. And guess what? Yeah, you put almost another percent on, and you're like, this is actually pretty good. I'm glad I held. And then as soon as it starts selling again, as soon as this starts to sell again, you have to get out of it. You have to get out of it, or the same thing over here. Like you would have been doing the same thing. Lunch started, and you get baited on any of these candles. You have to just get out. You can't sit there and go, oh, well, maybe this time it'll go up. You have no fucking clue. That's exactly when you need to get out, is when you have no idea and you're going, well, maybe this one will go up. No, if it's not just continuing the trend, then you just got to get out, right? Especially when everything posted its high at lunch, right? You know better. You know, as soon as I'm talking to even myself, I know better when I hit that lunch high and I'm coming down. You had a big day. If you have a big day of gains, you're going to take profit into close. Knew this shit was going to happen. Have a green day Friday. Don't sit there and watch price. Some of you probably sold all the way fucking down here. You guys are savages. If you sold down here, you're a savage. You're out of your mind. You're literally out of your mind. If you watch this come all the way down here, you sold and then you go, oh shit, I should have stayed in. Yeah, you should have at that point, because it's probably going to be up to like 262 or something tomorrow. So you're insane. But Brian says, laughing at the old me, that would have swung. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, if you entered over here, I mean, I guess you'll be fine. But it's just there's a lot of examples of this today, and there's a reason why I talk about this idea. We're not fucking investors here. Yeah, we invest in things, sure. We're trading. We're not gonna fucking stay in something if it's losing all of its value, right? You have to take profit. Some of you really take the pushing your winnings thing way too far. I know you do, because some of you will be up a shit ton, and then you'll be back to break even and be like, what happened? What happened is you never pulled the trigger. You gotta take it home. Re-enter it. There's no reason to watch it come all the way back down if you can take profit and then re-enter at a lower point for a better average. Some of you are scared to make the trades. Now, some of you have PDT rules and shit, and I understand that might affect you. I can understand that, but do you need to trade around that? Like, that's literally your own fault that you don't have money to trade with. Like, what do you? There's literally no point of even trying to say anything about that. The rules don't change. The rules literally do not change if you can only make a few trades. Like, you trade the same way, so you don't get to go, well, I can't take all the opportunities. That's such a stupid excuse. And so many people use that as an excuse of why they can't get better. That's such a bullshit excuse. I took an account, a smaller account, through that because I never did that myself. And it was the exact same trading. It's the exact same trading. It's just the same inexperience that anyone has starting out, right? It has nothing to do with a cap on your account. Yeah. Ecto says, PDT folks, look at a cash account. Exactly. You can use a fucking cash account. How many of you even know how to use margin anyway, and even know if you're using margin? Half of you don't even have any fucking clue. I don't even bring it up because it doesn't even matter. Some of you, I used to talk about it and be like, you should be using margin here, and you should be using leverage here, and again, you should be, because some of you have like a small, like some of you with like a $50,000 account should be trading past 50K, like especially if you don't have money in the market all the time. You don't want that trade to be only worth 10K. You want it to be worth 25K, right? If you get 250%, yeah, you want your trades to be giving you better bang for your buck, because you shouldn't be making a trade if you don't fucking know what you're doing anyway, right? If you're making a directional trade and it's not going that direction, then what are you doing in the first place, right? So you should be levered up, but we won't get into that today, because that's a different spiel that we're all a little too all over the place for any of that to really matter that much. Okay, so tomorrow, guys, right? We know there's going to be some retracement. It's going to be a hungry day. And I've talked about it, that these last 2 days are going to be difficult. You just got your first difficult day. Now tomorrow, a lot of you are going to be, ooh, yay, it's a green day, and it's great, and everything's awesome. And I mean, I already know what you guys are going to do, because that's why I'm trading around how the market's going to be. You had the take profit day today. Because of yields, tomorrow yields are going to subside, get a little bit normalized. You're going to get headlines that say, "Oh, the yields are stable," and "Oh, the market's up," or whatever. Dumb fucking whoever journalists writing shit and algos writing headlines. You're going to get that sort of view tomorrow that, oh, look, futures are up. I guess everything was wrong yesterday. Like, okay, then what they sell yesterday for, right? Keep it in context. Don't forget what came before. The only reason we make trades is because of what came before and what we're projecting to happen thereafter, right? It's so easy to just discount anything that fucking happens all the time and to act like, oh, well, today's the day, today's different, and yesterday doesn't matter. There's time and a place for that mentality, right? There's a time and place for that. You don't get to forget the fact that this shit is bad. This selling on the growth side is bad. Don't go tomorrow and go, you know what? Today is definitely the day I'm going to go buy some Apple calls, because that shit is bottom fishing material, and it's going to work. Just trade what's working, guys. Just fucking trade what's working. Trade what's working. That's it. Going into the weekend, you don't need to make a miracle happen. You can literally trade the same thing. And we're going to have listen, I'm going to buy a lot of shit tomorrow. I'm probably going to go up to more positions than I have in a while tomorrow, because based on the volatility and all the contracts that expire tomorrow, technically Saturday, there's going to be a ton of shit to buy. There's going to be a ton of shit to buy, I think, and because a lot could continue. The question is whether or not does this shit continue tomorrow. It's hard to say that the S&P and the Nasdaq are so different right now. It's hard to tell that will the S&P get dragged further down this way. That's something that we're going to have to be very careful about from open. So open is going to be a lot of fun trying to get those positions. I think travel looks great for sort of some plays tomorrow, specifically some of like the, some of the ones that are not as far up. But again, this entry over here, think about if we get something like this, you're probably going to, I would say there's a 50-50 chance you get this similar Friday. That fifth candle where we bought everything on March 5th. This is 2 Fridays ago. This is the Friday that we bought everything 2 Fridays ago. I'm not leaving that off the cards. I would love for that to happen, because look what we got last time. Remember all the 100% trades that we were literally gifted from 2 Fridays ago? You could get overselling again tomorrow to start the day, but it's really just fucking wrong. It's just wrong. And so if yields aren't out of their mind, or yields start high and then start to pull back, I'm going for all of this shit, and I'm going boogeyman fucking under kids' beds, not real kids, but fucking the option chain kids, and going and eating their lunches. Because if this shit happens again this week, because people don't understand how bond yields work, I'm literally going to lose my mind and buy everything. I'm just gonna buy everything. This time I've got the fucking Dow play. I'm gonna have to go take out a loan and fucking buy everything. Honestly, I'm gonna call my grandmother, tell her to give me some money that she hasn't paid me for fucking 2 years. Give me a goddamn birthday present. I'm taking the cash and I'm putting it in the market because again, 2 Fridays ago, the same shit happened. I get GE coming down here like this again over here, buying it. I get BA, I get all my travel, get banks, anything that wants to pull back tomorrow into the weekend on the value side, I'll be buying all of it, literally all of it. If it does that, right? If we get any sort of weird selling like that, that's just all kinds of fucked up, I'm buying, and you should too. You should too. And there's going to be a lot of trades like that. You know, there's going to be a lot of trades like that. Tech might even do this, but I'm not going to go buy it down there on tech because you have no idea where that's going, right? If Apple does this tomorrow, I'm not going down there. I'm not going to go feeding down there. It's not bullish already. Remember, it's a big difference between something that's already bullish, right? You don't know the difference? Then ask me. I'll tell you. One look at a chart, I'll tell you what I think. Doesn't need to be right or wrong, but I'll tell you my opinion, right? You want levels? Put them in the chat. Put the name in the chat. I'll post some levels for you. Tomorrow's going to be a day that you're going to be wanting to buy support. You don't know where the levels are? Don't fucking guess. Ask me. I'll pipe it out because I'd rather you make some money so that you can pay me more money, right? Some of you owe me checks. And tomorrow's going to be fun. Today was a lot of fun. If you didn't have fun today, then it's because you're on the wrong side of the market. It's fun to laugh. Guys, it is fun to come up here and to text my group chat and to laugh at everyone below. You're an all-time high today. From lunchtime, it was really funny. Now, there's people that were like, ha ha, I told you. It's like, dude, I'm still... the Dow finished break even today, buddy. Banks finished positive. Half of my shit was actually above 5% green. So... again, this is a good feeling to go laugh at your cousin Greg. That's minus 3% on the underlying. Probably blew up every option they own, and you're up here at all-time high. This is easy, and it looks special, but it's not special. No one here is special, right? You can have special trades, but we're not special. We're just normal fucking people, right? We're not doing anything good or special. I mean, so I don't know. Do you guys have anything for tomorrow? Tomorrow's gonna be a fucking nightmare. So, do you guys have any questions for tomorrow before we get in tomorrow? Because again, I talked about it today, and then all of a sudden, I look into chat. I was walking through the fucking rain in New York for some stuff to do during lunch, and then I come back and I see you guys typing. I'm like, what happened? And I can just tell that you guys are having it's a surprise, but it's not a surprise. So. Is there anything that we can get out of the way right now before tomorrow starts so that when tomorrow goes bid and you guys are going, oh no, we can just get that out of the way? Anyone have any questions? Don't usually tell you guys to ask me questions. But nothing. Good. That's what I like to hear. You guys are all going to make what? You guys are all going to make 100% trades tomorrow, right? You guys are all going to, I'm going to see the profit section. It doesn't need to be realized. It can be unrealized. You guys are all going to be up, what? A couple 100%? How much percent? How much did you guys make on the WBA trade? I averaged just over 1,000%. Just over 1,000. Just over 1,000. What you guys get on WBA? Ecto says he lost 95% same day. What is that? That was because I picked the contract that expired that day? Holy moly. That's a tough one. C-Trader says, tickers on support. Do they go bid right away or sell past supports then go bid? I mean, supports can act as a range. It's usually relative to the ticker. So sometimes there's some variance around the level, right? Depending on what it is. It could be, 10 basis points, could be some sort of understanding. So like on this chart here, just for instance, I have 2 levels here. If I have 2 levels really close to each other, it's because it's a zone. the whole zone, right? Could react anywhere in there. It's not always going to be fucking exact. And then other times it's exact, right? I would say more times than not, it's like an exact touch, and you're looking for it to come down to the level and then fucking pig right off it, right? The pen chart was really funny last week, right? We have this line in here for, I don't know, since December, right? We have the support in here since December, and it just ticks it immediately and goes. So you put your order right there, and it goes, right? Now, other times it's, it's relative. Is it going to bounce perfectly on it tomorrow? It might have already bounced on it today. When you're buying on support, it needs to be a fucking bounce. I don't mean sit there. It just sits there and hangs out for like 20 minutes. No, that's not a bounce. We buy on support when it's moving, like it's actually pushing off a support. It actually is violent, right? We don't trade anything unless there's velocity. Velocity is that directional movement, right? And it's actually has a direction, and it has a fucking faster movement than its relative movement, which most charts have some sort of relative trend that it's on, right? Everything has basically the same relative speed, and then as soon as that changes, it's usually because it's interacting with a level of buyers or sellers, and so it's either getting rejected at a resistance, and so it moves off that resistance violently because there's a lot of sellers at that point, or there's a lot of buyers at a point, so it moves very violently off that. Let me just show it Let me just show it over here, just because it's a good question. This is a violent fucking move. This is a 5-minute candle, and it came down here and bounced the hell off the thing, right? It just completely took off the page, right? It didn't sit down here. It hit this order, and it had 100 times more buyers than sellers, so it came right off, and everyone starts buying, right? That's a bounce that you look for. That's where you watch price pull into you, and you buy it. You buy it with confidence, right? And then there's times when things will interact on a level. So this one over here, look, it's a little more relative. It still came off, right? And let's say now this is always off of timing. This is after open. So this is, again, it's relative to the time. It's relative to the time in the position. So for instance, if something was not bullish, then there's times when you're not going to be buying it just because there's support there, right? If it wasn't already in a bullish trend. So something like this here, right? It got rejected on resistance and was coming down. This over here, yeah, you can take the chance to buy it, but your chances here are a little bit more short term, and you're not going to be looking to push it because you literally came off of a resistance here, and you have more support. You have more ways to go because you've traded down there before, right? Prices traded down there before. Similar to over here. It's now, again, it's relative. It depends. Today, well, we just had a big sell day into Friday, which is usually a green day. So we're not exactly thinking that price is going to come down here. So again, it's always relative to when these things happen. And usually in that moment, you have a pretty good understanding of when it's going to be bouncing and how it should be bouncing, right? If it's right at open, if it opens right on support, it should be taking off from there. And we see that, right? That's when we get those opening buys that really work well, is that it opens, you see pre-markets opening on support, and it just flies off that open. That's where you're buying it immediately, right? And then there's times it'll dick around down there. You don't really, the longer it takes to come off the support, the more it shows that that's not really buyers. It's holding. It's a level of supply. It's holding the level, but there's not more buyers than sellers still. You want this to be more buyers if you're buying on it, right? That's how I would use that. And again, tomorrow is going to be a good example of this. There's going to be plenty of things open on support tomorrow. There's going to be plenty of things that sell down. That actually, this could even sell tomorrow. I know it's up 20 basis points right now, which makes sense. But for charts that look like this, maybe they come down to the other level like this here, that last Friday, right? This opened above as well. Look at 2 Fridays ago. This shit closed lower, but it gapped up at open, gapped up 3% at open, and then sold all the fucking way down that Friday when we bought it, right? I think we actually bought it on this day. We did buy it on this day, I think. Maybe not because it was sitting in the range, but no, we didn't. But the same thing applies that, yeah, we bought it down here. You can buy it down here today for the move to the upside. Makes sense. But it could also open higher and sell all the way down here, and guess what? We'll fucking buy it down there, right? It's relative, but there's going to be charts like that tomorrow, guys. there's going to be overselling if there's any yield movement, or we're just going to go bid out of our fucking mind and again prove that there's momentum on the value side. Like this shit's going to just be. If the Dow hits 34,000, guys, I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm fucking quitting. I'm done. I've got 1,000 points to go. It's right there. This is by April. I just need to get it by April. I get 2 weeks. Week and a half. 2 weeks. No, 2 weeks. Anyway, that was a lot of fun today, guys. Tomorrow, bring your A game. Bring your A game. Ecto says Wick 33,999. Yeah, it doesn't work like that. I'll have already taken profit. It's just the move. Again, it doesn't need to hit that. My bet does not finish at 34,000. You guys know that. I'm not trading the average. I'm trading you down and stuff, but individual companies, right? Anyway, guys, I'll see you in the morning. Have a great night, evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are, and I'll see you. Enjoy.